like to really sort of talk about those two ideas. Why photography? And then what is this relationship that you have with portraiture?
Well, I think photography, for me, before I became seriously involved in photography, my initial substantial creative outlet was music. And as you know, you have to play music with someone else. You have to wait for people to show up for rehearsal. You have to wait for the piano player to get finished at his girlfriend's house. You have to wait for people to show up. And I think, among other things, photography as a kind of solitary pursuit was something that appealed to me. Coming out of that experience, I didn't have to wait for anyone. I could take my camera, go out into the world, and make some work. And I think, too, at a certain point, once I began to feel the kind of strong response to my own work, to things that I was trying to do.
A response from the public or a response from you?
My own response first, my own response. Once I began to feel that my work was resonating for me the way my dishonest picture had resonated for me, the way any number of other photographers' pictures have resonated for me. Walker Evans is someone who I studied deeply also. Once I began to respond to my own photograph as strongly as I responded to those, I began to feel like, maybe this is something I can do. So I think it just kind of went on from there. But it was initially the notion that photography only required, for its completion, the photographer and the camera. I like that. I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to wait for anybody. I didn't have to talk to anybody about it. I could just go do it.
Just go.
Yeah, just go do it. And I distinctly remember one of the photographs in the Harlem work in which that happened for me for the first time. It's a photograph of a man wearing a bowler. And I made this picture in 1975, 76. And it wasn't an easy picture for me to make. I was 18, 19 years old, out in the street, trying to figure out how do you point a camera at someone meaningfully and come away with something that was not just a record of that interaction or transaction, but something that was evocative of the person whom you had photographed. And I remember seeing this man that I wanted to photograph. And it was extremely difficult for me at that time to walk up to a stranger and say, excuse me, there's an adult. I'm like 18, 19 years old. The man is standing there having a conversation with 3 or 4 other adults. And I'm not interested in them, I'm interested in him. So I have to figure out how to say, excuse me, I want to make a picture. But no, not you, not you, not you, but you. I mean, I was terrified. And so I saw him, I wanted to do it. And as I approached him, and I still remember, it was West 132nd Street, right off of 7th Avenue in Harlem. And as I approached him, I lost my nerve. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. I just nodded hello and kept walking. I couldn't do it. I walked all the way to the corner, kicking myself the whole way. And I told myself, okay, so this is it. Are you going to do this or not? And if you're going to do it, this is what it requires. Go back and ask the man if you can make a picture of him. Now I'm going through this whole psychological head trip. Well, he saw you once, what's he going to think when you come back twice? You didn't ask him before, now if you ask him now, what's he going to say? What could he say other than yes or no? But at that point, there was this whole drama that I was making. What's he going to say? But I realized that if I was going to do what I said I wanted to do, and if I was going to be who I said I wanted to be, that's what I needed to do. So that was the moment, really, when I was able to break through. And that's the first picture that I made that really succeeded at the level of ambition that I had set for myself. That was the first picture. Now, certainly in that picture, and in that work itself, part of what I was searching for and trying to describe in the pictures was some aspect of the intersecting of Harlem's past and present. And I think this elegant man in a bowler, for me, resonated as part of the history of the place, and part of a certain sensibility that was still evidently in the present moment. Whoever else was standing there with him didn't do that for me. And I think too, you know, the other part of your question, you know, has to do with, even as I've been interested in trying to make some kind of credible representation of the human subject, whether the African-American subject or the teenage subject, I'm always aware that I'm doing it through making photographs. And I've always been interested in making photographs that are equally as engaging as photographs, as two-dimensional objects, as they are engaging for the subjects that I choose to photograph.